Huh? ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So let us continue our discussion. The introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. वो इंट्रोडक्टरी माध्यम में उन्हें बहुत एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव व्यू उन्होंने दी थी. It's given a very total picture of Bhagavad Gita. In how many ways you can look at it, in how many ways there are specialities in it. बहुत सारे बहुत ही very very enlightened and knowledgeable monk Siriye. So last time we saw some of the special definitions. कुछ संज्ञा उन्होंने किया. उसके अंदर है, so who is a muni? दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्नमनः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर् मुनिरुच्यते. So he is not अनुद्विग्नमना दुःखेषु. कोई दुख आता है तो कोई is not disturbed. सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः. हम सब तो दुख होने में उसकी सहन करना, उसके ये करना हम जानते हैं. We hear also about that, we try, but that's not enough. Sukheshu vigataspruha. Even in sukha, we should be equanimous. People, they become completely overwhelmed by anything good, and that brings a lot of problems. Because what happens when you enjoy sukha, anything good too much, then the mind always wants again and again. मन के अंदर वासना जन्म ले लेता है. That is the problem. Why the great sadhakas and others used to avoid always that which is pleasurable, that which is sukha. Because जो भी है आपका मन में हमेशा ही you always tendency वृत्तियां जन्म ले लेती whenever we experience anything. So when you experience anything sukha, for example, you go to a 7-star hotel and have a huge lunch or a dinner. Once the mind gets a taste of it, acha, abhi jao, 2 दिन बाद में जाऊं. So the mind is constantly hankering for that. So hankar means that will end in problem only. That's what he says. ध्यायते वशियान पुंसः संगस्तेषु उपजायते संघात संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. So when you think, he says, about Vishayas, when you think of things which are of the nature of enjoyment, then one after the other. In Vekshudamani, Sankaracharya uses a very beautiful expression. Krida Kandukavat. How does a ball which is falling on the flight of stairs, उसको रोकने वाला नहीं है, एक ही बाद नीचे गिरता ही रहेगा जब तक वो जमीन में गिर जाता है. No one can stop it. Like that, once you get attached, then one after the one. See, it says, Dukeshu Anuvidvignamana, Sukeshu Vigataspura, Vita Raga Bhayakrodaha Sitadi. There is nothing, it is attachment, aversion, fear, anger, all those things. If someone has Sitadhi, is not subject to all this, such a person is Muni. So you can imagine what's the high standards which the Bhagavad Gita sets for human beings. If you want to be a true Muni, you have to do all this. And there's somewhere he similarly defines who is a Mittachari, is a hypocrite. He says, Karmendriyani samyamya yayaste manasaswaran indriyartan vimudhatma mityacharasya. He says, the person, the organs of action is trying to control externally. हाथ कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, पैर से कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, आंख बंद है, कान बंद है, कुछ नहीं सुनते हैं, कुछ नहीं देखते हैं. बट ये आस्ते मनसास्परण, मनी मन ये सब चिंता चलता रहता है, भोग की चिंता रहता है, enjoyment is thinking constantly of bhoga and enjoyment. Is indriyartan vimudhatma, is a deluded person. He seeks the pleasure of indriya. He is called a mithyachari. He is called a hypocrite. Why? Because he wants to enjoy everything. मन में बहुत वासना है, wants everything, but is pretending he does not want anything. He is a very person of renunciation. त्याग दे दिया, उनका कुछ भी नहीं लगता है. Like that, if they pretend, then it's useless. Rather, it's better to be honest and if necessary, enjoy and then slowly work one's way. Yes, Kia, we can again. This is bad, this is what is leading to have a higher purpose in life, and slowly you work your way up, then you get slowly better and better. हो सकता है. So that's why it's called such people as Mithyachari. And then another definition is between Devi Sampat and Asuri Sampat. What are the divine qualities as well as Asuri qualities? They are discussed in detail in chapter 60. And then he gives a definition of Sthita Prajna. Who is the Sthita Prajna? Sthita Prajna Saka Bhasha, when Arjuna asked, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanneva atmanatushtaha sthita prajnastatochati. दुखेश अनुविद भी ना वहाँ भी आ रहे हैं, वहाँ से ले लिया उन्होंने. Means Muni is a Sthita Prajna. So, in all ways, a person who is a person of steady intellect who has all these qualities. Is not perturbed. All his vasanas are satisfied or is gone beyond them. Sarvan Prajahati yata kaman sarvan partha manogata. सब मन की उसी मन से सब अतिक्रम कर लिया. आत्मन्येव आत्मना तुष्टः स्थितः. His only delight is only in Atman. ये सब छोड़ फोड़ के use ultimate self or the consciousness or Bhagavan or जो भी है, whatever is the highest, nothing connected with this world is his matter of delight or happiness. He always aims for the highest. Such is his nature. So similarly, he also gives a definition of who is a Gunathita. That definition also he gives somewhere. And then, in again in chapter 12, he talks of the Bhakta, who is a real, because there are several definitions of the whole chapter is devoted to Bhakti Yoga or the nature of a Bhakta. But then, one or two slokas we can especially see whether we are able to connect with them. He says, Advesha sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukhakshami santushta satam yogi yatatma dhrida nischate mayarpita manobhitra yomad bhakta samipriya. So here he gives a definition of bhakta. Again, in several other slokas also in this chapter we get a definition of bhakta. So adveshta sarvabhutanam, किसी के प्रति कोई द्वेष नहीं है, is friendly towards everyone. Maitra, karuna evacha, is loving and is compassionate, etc. Nirmamo nirahankara, there is no ahankara, there is no possessiveness or ahankara, is free from all that. Sama dukkha sukhakshami, is always santushted, always, and then santushta satatam yogi, is always happy, always contented. See, actually, these two go together. Santushta sadatam yogi. Where do you get happiness? Happiness comes from, santushta comes from the idea of being content. Unless you are contented, unless you are satisfied, because that is one of the qualities that necessary for being happy and peaceful. Being content with what we have. उसकी बगल वाला घर में नया गाड़ी आ गया, मेरा नहीं है, उनका प्रमोशन मिल गया, मेरा नहीं है. See, we always compare and suffer endlessly, ना? So if you say नहीं तो ये तो मेरा गाड़ी है तो चला जाए. What is the need for a new vehicle? में क्या जरूरत है? क्यों पैसा खर्च करो? Then such a mind will, that is not being, see, actually most of our problem is because we are discontent. जो है, we are not satisfied with that. We want more, we want more. जितना भी है फिर मांगते रहते हैं. दिल मांगे मोर ना क्या? So like that you keep on asking for, दिल मांगता रहता है हमेशा. So there is no end to that. The more you aspire, the more you want, more you have is a problem, because everything comes with a rider. आप दुकान से कोई चीज लेते हैं, उसको तो ये है ना, कीमती है ना, देना है ना पैसा, तब तो मिलता है. So you have to pay a price. So when you aspire for more promotion, more post, more, along with that, all troubles also will come. ठीक है. See, that doesn't mean that should we not have anything? Yes. Edricha labha santushto. Somebody says, whatever comes, मैं अपना करते हुए करता रहता हूँ, जो आ रहा, जो मिलेगा मिलेगा. See, because we don't have that kind of a little higher orientation, so you always think that, I'm not getting recognized, I'm not getting this, I'm not. Who is going to recognize you? Some useless person sitting 2 places above you, who may be much worse than you. Why should you crave for his recognition? मैं भगवान की कैसे संतुष्ट करूं? We never think, ना? एक काम से, इसी से, इंटरेक्शन से, इस परफॉर्मेंस से, यहाँ जाने से, आने से, what is the credit I get? Who is going to praise me? That's what we are bothered now. But then this idea is that contentment is, yes, I will always do my best. I will always give my. क्यों? मेरे वर्क के साथ एक हायर एटीट्यूड है. मैं किसी व्यक्ति के लिए नहीं करूँ, मैं जहाँ भी हूँ. One can be a housewife, one can be an executive, one can be in corporate, one can be a businessman, one can be a doctor, engineer. The attitude, Gita is this way, is universal for everybody. Everybody thinks of a higher attitude towards life, किसी ना किसी वक्त नो आ ही जाएगा. सी दिस हायर एटीट्यूड इज नॉट समथिंग वन हैज टू बी tremendously spiritual. Even if you are a little thinking person, if you always think of the higher dimension of your work, मेरे क्या काम से कितनी हजार हजार लाखों लोग की फायदा है. Is there not a divine purpose behind it? Why should I not do with the deep sense of satisfaction, happiness, contentment? जो है ठीक है, जो आ रहा है अच्छा है, मेरा जो मिलना मिल ही जाएगा. इसलिए मेरा व्यस्त होना जरूरत है. आई डोंट हैव टू बी टेरिबली एंग्शियस अबाउट what I should get or what I should not get. Let me serve contentedly, because that is why, you see, somewhere or other, even unless you are able to look at something deeper. Very recently, again and again, I'm referring about that book to everybody. There's a book called Grey Sunshine. It's a book full of life stories of those who served in this, in an organization, Teach for India. Because they found a higher purpose, that they saw the lot of poor children who were suffering in slums, etc. Brilliant students, corporate executives, many others are kind of spending their lifetime, taken that as their mission. So, unless you find a higher dimension to your work, work will only be a bondage. That's why in the ancient tradition, work was always condemned, because work would always bring bondage. क्यों? Because वर्क के साथ एक्सपेक्टेशन, लेना देना आ जाता है, कर्मफल आ जाता है. यू वांट इट टू हैपन दिस वे, यू वांट इट टू हैपन दैट वे, देन रिश्ता बन जाती है उसी से. ओ सो एंड सो इज क्लोज टू मी, ओ एंड सो इज सपोज टू मी. किसी किसी को फेवर करना है, किसी को नहीं करना है. So many things come along with it. Vasanas, desire, to experience it again and again. Then what are the benefits you will get? So all that will come. If you work without that kind of a right attitude, all that would come. But if you work with that attitude, so many attitudes are given in the Gita. Ishvara, Buddhya, are thinking everything as a part of this oneness, as a cosmic sea of things, as part of Prakriti. In whatever way you think, if you attribute a higher dimension to your work, then the work will uplift you, because it will give you a tremendous, deep sense of inner satisfaction. And that will keep you healthy, that will keep you peaceful, that will keep you calm. And with that mind, you'll be able to meditate, you'll be able to do japa, you'll be able to do prarthana. So if you always come and say, oh Maharaj, I'm not able to meditate. No, no. Because if your whole day, if you are so restless, how will you be able to meditate in the evening? See, being calm and restless is not just the amount of work that you do. मैं कितना काम कर रहा हूँ इससे ज़्यादा लेना देना नहीं. What is important is how we do. There are people who do enormous amount of work, yet are extremely calm, and then they are in their own. I used to see one of our Swamiji, the President Maharaj, he was General Secretary. So much of responsibility. But evening 6 बजे तो बस, once he closes his office, he'll go for a walk. Anybody comes, newest brahmachari, maybe 40 years, 50 years junior team, उसके साथ भी वो गप करते करते he will walk, he will share his experience. There's no tension. दिन भर ही किया, मानो दिन में 5-6 चिट्ठी पत्र आया था, कहाँ कुछ खतरनाक है, कहाँ कुछ हो रहा है, कहाँ कुछ भाग गया, कहाँ कुछ चोरी हो गया, कहाँ कुछ ये हो गया, इस सेंटर में ये प्रॉब्लम है, सब कुछ संभाला. When the time comes, close, बस, then he would. सिर्फ तो प्रेसिडेंट बनना ना, otherwise you think you would have become. Was just like that, he had joined as a very young person, 18-19 साल में आया था. So simply because the idea of how could you detach, because there is nothing personal. बहुत बार हम लोग सब काम में पर्सनल एंगल ले आते हैं. ऐसा नहीं, मेरा साथ ऐसा, मेरा ऐसा, ये ऐसा, this is that. So if you keep that, it will always bring problem. And we see so many people come, so many volunteers come. Volunteers की संभालना ही बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है कई बार, because they have their intention is good essentially, सेवा करने के लिए आते हैं, लेकिन उनके अंदर इतनी जिक्र है, so much इसके साथ मेरा नहीं बनेगा, उसके साथ मैं बैठ नहीं पाऊंगा, उसके साथ काम नहीं करूंगा, वो ऐसा बोला मेरे के, वो ऐसा बोला. You have come to serve. One of the first thing is, let me serve with everybody. Why do you come to serve? Because you have an attitude. Because you have come to dedicate. Why you have come to dedicate? You are either because of Swamiji, either because of Thakur, either because of Ma, something. And then at the same time, if you keep all that, it's okay. You will not get the full benefit of such a kind of a service. जितना चित्त शुद्धि होना था, जल्दी से उतना नहीं होगा. Because we are ourselves putting hurdles. We are ourselves placing something on the path. The first thing is, see, I understand even if you are paid and all that, वो भी नहीं होना चाहिए, बिल्कुल होना ही नहीं चाहिए. But there at least we can understand there can be some problem, there can be something. Because then all the लेना देना तो आ ही जाता है. Once you work for money or salary or something, they can always. But when you have come to offer your services, the first quality is, no, let me with everybody. Let me take everything that comes. Everything is the Lord's work. Sometimes nice, sometimes so not so nice, sometimes due to some problem, sometimes due to somebody else's some behavior. But I am मैं firm हूँ. I am firmly in my position because I have come to serve. I have nothing, I have no expectation. If they give, I will do. Whatever I am asked, I will do. However much, I will do. That kind of an attitude, so necessary. Otherwise, see, it's very difficult. To be a volunteer is very difficult. Okay, because there is some underlying, although we say as volunteer, there's a great underlying expectation. Many people, of course, everybody is evolving, everybody is trying. I'm not criticizing anybody. मैं किसी की बात पे बुरा नहीं बोल रहा. But unless we attend to all that, it is very difficult to get the spiritual growth that is necessary. That's why in some others, they say, Maharaj, everybody is supposed to be spiritual. Why all this is happening? Why they are behaving like this? No answer. Everybody is trying, everybody is working hard, everybody is working hard. But you see, these are some of the fundamentals or foundations. आपकी अस्थिवार फाउंडेशन अच्छा नहीं हो, सुपर स्ट्रक्चर बिल्कुल हिलता रहेगा, कब तूफान से इससे उससे गिर जाएगा. So before putting a superstructure, the foundation should be very strong, where you can really have that kind of an attitude, that kind of a thing, so that you can adjust, accommodate, be with everybody, oneness. So that's how you create an atmosphere of harmony around you, na? That's so important. So then somewhere he defines jnana in chapter 13. See, the 13th chapter is very beautiful chapter between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. This body, Bhagavan calls a Kshetra, and the Atman is Kshetrajna, who is the knower. Say, idam shariram kaunteya kshetramit avidiyate etadyo vetitam prahu kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. This body is called Kshetra, the field, because this is where the fruits of actions are experienced. Why do we have this body? Because whatever we do in this Janma, to experience the results of the fruits of actions, in the next Janma, you take a body, and through that you experience and slowly exhaust all those karmas. In the meanwhile, if you again and again keep doing karmas of a desire filled nature, then more is accumulating, then one more birth, then one more birth, then one more birth. How do you cut it off? Do actions where there is no desire. Because having taken the body, you cannot avoid actions. But do it so carefully as to not form new bondages, new desires, new vasanas. Then slowly you find that you are just exhausting, and once is exhausted and prarabdha exhausted, you become a jivan mukta, become completely liberated. Then etadyo veti tam prabhu. So those who are uh, uh, iti tad vidaha, those who are knowers, they say that the Kshetrajna is it knows the property of the spirit who knows the field, and that is how the Prabhu they are saying about this, said by the Vidaha, by the known people. Then here he defines what is jnana in the next sloka. Kshetrakyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata kshetra chetnakyor jnanam ettad jnanam matam mama. This is my mata. Of course, the mata definition we already see. Now he is talking about jnana. What is this? So this is that Bharata, the son of the descendant of the Bharata race. So me Kshetrajna Mam Vidhi. Know me to be the Kshetrajna, the spirit in all the bodies. Sarva Kshetreshu Bharat. In all the fields, in all the bodies, I am the indwelling spirit. So you can, and then Kshetra Chaitanya Kiyor Jnanam, the knowledge of the distinction between Kshetra and Kshetrajna alone is real knowledge according to me. This is the real knowledge, he says. Now again, all these slokas give rise to so many interpretations. One can say, I am the Kshetrajna in all bodies. So you can say the God or the divine that is present everywhere, in all souls, everywhere. So in that sense, you can say there's a dualistic touch there. Or you can interpret it, Mom, you may say that here is talking about the Advaita or the Supreme Brahman or the consciousness who is prevalent everywhere. That also can be understood here. It gives rise to both the interpretations. And not only that, further what he says, to know the distinction between Kshetra and Kshetrajna is alone real knowledge according to me. Why? Because constantly we mistake this Kshetra and Kshetrajna. The difference between body and the spirit is something we constantly lose track of, is it not? We don't really remember that. That is the main problem. So, because we identify ourselves completely with the body, we think we are the body. And that is why all these problems are come. So, once you understand, no, this is not, body is only an instrument and I am different from the body. The moment you identify and distinguish yourself as different, then the whole game is over. Then you become a person of complete knowledge and you reach the highest. So, because of this constant identification with the body and obviously with the mind, that is what leading to all our suffering, sorrow, problems, again and again taking birth, everything is linked to this. So that's why he says, knowing the difference between Kshetra and Kshetrajna, that is the real knowledge, and that is what you should really know. Because knowing that alone, you will get the highest liberation or moksha or mukti, because this is what will really liberate you. The distinction between these two. And then he also says some teachings as hitam, that which is beneficial, that which is good for you. I'm telling you because you are very Sakha, my dear friend. Somebody calls him a Sakha, and he is, I will tell you something which is for your hita or good only. Sarvaguhya tamam bhuya srunime paramam vachaha ishtosi me dridamiti tato vakshyami te hitam. Listen again. Eh? Srunu me sarva guhya tamam paramam vacha, the supreme word, profoundest of all spiritual teachings. Eh? You are beloved of me. Ishto see me. And I tell you what is beneficial. You are very well beloved of me. Dridamiti tato vakshyamiti. What is beneficial to you, I am really telling you. So you please listen to that. And in next sloka he goes, Manmana bhava bhaktu madhyaji mam namaskaru mameshvasi satyam te pratijane priyosimi. Again, we'll look at it from another angle also. So he says, because those who say that Gita talks about Dvaita, no, talks of Dvaita also. Manmana mavamat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mamai vashyasi satyam te pratijane priyosimi. So, let your mind be engrossed in me. Be devoted to me. offer worship to me. Mat yaji. Mame Vrisi Satyamte. I pledge you the truth that you are dear to me, that you shall come to me alone at the end. So this is a very clear assurance which the Lord gives. Then he talks of the pratigna, or whatever he has. He is again saying that in two places he talks of the pratigna. Pratigna is he is saying again in chapter 9. Apiche suduracharo bhajate ma mananya bhav साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यक् व्यवसितो ही यः व्यवसितो ही सः. He says, even if he's a durachari, जितने भी पापात्मा हो, still be bhajate maam ananya bhav. If he worships me with unwavering faith and devotion, sadhureva samantave. That person is to be considered a person of righteousness or sadhu. Samyak vyavasito hi saha, because he has taken the right resolve. So here he says, it's not quite often, people say that I have done like this, I have done like this. How can I do this? Can I do? So many people would come to Holy Mother, say that Mother in Calcutta, she used to stay in the first floor, no? So below the near the stairs, Mother, I can't even come to your presence. मैंने इतना किया गर्हित काम, I am not even worthy of coming to your presence. Mother will say, नहीं, ऊपर आ जाओ, come. Immediately गले लगा देती थी. She will immediately embrace her and say, offer everything at the feet of Thakur, I will give you mantra. Whatever you have done, forget it. From today, a new life. I have embraced you, I will give you mantra. That's what Sri Krishna also said. Even if he is durachari, suduracharo. Even if the worst kind of a conformed sinner, he also, if he worships me with that resolve, then he has taken the right decision, because he has decided to turn a new leaf. He might have committed. That's why they say every saint has a past and every sinner a future. Whatever it might be, because God knows. Sometimes we think that we are so superior, we are so good. How much you know? Whatever you've done in so many births, after that we have come. If not this birth, so many other births. In these births also, no one can say that I have never done anything which is not correct or something like that. But what Sri Krishna says is, anytime if you take a resolve, yes, from now I am going to worship the Lord with unwavering mind, faith, and devotion, then I become a sadhu. I become a person of righteousness, because I have taken the samyak vyavasito hi saha. He has taken the right resolve. Then what happens to such a person? Kshipram bhavati dharmatma sashva shantim nigacchati. Immediately, in a trice, he becomes a dharmatma. Immediately. And he attains to Sashvat Shanti and Nigachati. He attains a supreme peace, lasting peace. Even in the moment he is transformed, because he has taken the right resolve. That is the power of Lord's name. One ka naam itna powerful hai. So they say he is even more powerful than the Lord himself. When Rukmani and Satyabhama, they were who was greater. So I think one of them probably Satyabhama, somebody Taras mein, ek side mein they put Sri Krishna. In the other lady, she simply wrote Krishna's name on a Tulsi Patra, and that became a more weighty side. Whereas the Pura hili gaya us side. So what is the idea? I mean, you cannot say that, oh, it is scientifically it is not possible and all that. How can a human being weigh less than a leaf and all that? It's all silly arguments. The real idea is the power of Lord's name. Of course, Thakur goes this much to say, Naam or Nami Abhed. The name and the person denoted the name कोई भेद नहीं है, देयर इज नो डिफरेंस, दिस मच तो भगवान बता रहे हैं. So, he says, he has taken the Lord's name, then Kaunteya Pratijanehi Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Kaunteya was from the Kunti Putra. Know for certain that my Bhakta is never destroyed. So he gives a tremendous assurance. You see, Pratigna. What are the pratignas he has made is here. Kaunteya Pratijani. Know for certain. I assure you, I promise you that it will never happen. Again, this 64 that we saw it earlier. Again, he says, yeah, and then in the 65, Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mame Vaishyati Satyam Te Pratijane Priyosimi. Know this to be true. I am assuring you. Pratijane Priyosime, know it. So, if your mind is completely absorbed in meaning, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakta Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, if you worship me, if you are engrossed in me, if you are devoted to me, etc., if you are completely resigned to me, then you will come to me only. You are beloved of me. Priyosime. Satyam te pratijane. You know for certain. This is truth. I am Satya, I am saying. So in these two places, the Lord clearly talks about the idea of, giving the complete assurance so that, there is no doubt in the mind of Arjuna that what will happen, whether I really get it or not. All that is completely solved here. And then, in another, there are several places where he gives reference to his own life. Another special feature. नमे पार्थास्य कर्तव्यम त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन नानवाप्तम अवाप्तव्यम वर्तेव च कर्मणि. See, in 3 words, I have no kartavya. You are saying so much, you are asking me to work, work, work. I am not only asking you to work, I am setting an example. Lekin, at least for you, you have to win the battle, enjoy the kingdom. कुछ है कर्तव्य है, because you are bound to the Yudhishthira's army, Yudhishthira, your elder brother, your duty, you have a kartavya. नमे पार्थासि कर्तव्यम त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन. 3 लोक में मेरा कोई कर्तव्य नहीं. क्यों? नानवाप्तम अवाप्तव्यम. मेरा कोई लेना देना कुछ नहीं है. मेरा मांग भी नहीं है, कुछ देना भी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं. लेकिन वर्ते एव च कर्म. I am always working, because he will say, if I don't work, the whole world will get destroyed. People will get the wrong idea, and everything will go totally. So he says, that's why I have to work, and I constantly work without any break. Although I have no kartavya, no sense of duty. I am not attached to anything. I am not bound to anything. Because supposing you don't want anything. आपका कुछ भी मांग नहीं है. Nothing related to the body, to the mind, nothing. You are not asking anything, and simply you are free. So मिला तो मिला, नहीं मिला तो नहीं मिला. खाने को कोई दिया है, नहीं दिया, ठीक है. Then you are free from any sense of duty. आपका कोई ही, there is no attachment, no bondage, nothing. Because we always, we have sense of duty, कर्तव्य. ठीक समझ नहीं पाते हैं. We wrongly assume this में कर्तव्य when it is not there. So all that lead to attachment problem, etc. So he says you have to work at the same time. You must understand what is exactly the thing. Then in the second chapter, he says paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That he says again. So again he's telling about himself. Paritranaya sadhunam, protecting the righteous, vinashaya cha duskritam, to destroy the wicked, dharma samsthapanarthaya, to re-establish dharma, sambhavami yuge yuge, again and again I come. So these are places where he reveals about himself, what he wants to see, etc. Say. Again in another place he says, Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram Suridam sarvabhutanam nyatpa mam shanti mrichati. So what is that? The recipient, Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvalokam. Whatever worship, offering, austere practice, tapas, everything is happening. I am the recipient. सब मेरे ही अर्पण कर रहे, everything they are giving to me only. And Suridam Sarvabhutanam, I am the friend of all. I am the so knowing this, man attains to eternal peace. Only if he knows this, then such a person will get peace, because he knows that the whatever you are doing, all those offerings are going to him only. There's none apart from him. So, in that sense, you are completely freed from all sense of fear, all sense of other problems. Then you are in a state of complete calmness, because yes, whatever we do, it's all going to him, the Lord only. And then he says again in another sloka, again in another idea he is revealing here. ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस् अमृतस्यास्य विवेच शाश्वतस्य धर्मस्य सुखस्य एकांतिकस्य च. So again he says, I am the supporter. I am the love and grace and basic support of Brahman. ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्यास्य अमृतस्य अव्ययस्य च. Both the Amrita and the Avya, the everything, then Shashvata Sacha Dharmasya, Sukha Sekantika Sacha. So I am the love and grace of Pratyekatman, the true inner self, basic support of Brahman, of the incorruptible state of moksha, of the eternal law and unending bliss. So everything he has stated. So it's one of the most difficult slokas to be interpreted, because in the previous sloka he says, Yo mam cha yog avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samadhi daitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So a person, who serves me through the communion of unswerving devotion, avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati daitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He transcends the gunas, because all our limitations, all our things, because we are under the influence of the gunas. They move us around, they make us do so many things. So that is what is constantly happening. So if a person serves me with complete devotion, unwavering devotion, and then is exclusively devoted to me that way, he transcends all gunas and attains the fitness. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He becomes fit to attain Brahman. Yes, this you can understand. Because from the Dvaita, he do works, etc. And then he becomes fit for the highest state of Advaita, or oneness of consciousness. But the very next sloka, he completely gives a different idea. He says, Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasyasya abhyasya cha. Amrita, Abhiya, Brahmana, everything. I am the Pratishtha. I am the Shashvata Dharma. I am the Adhara of everything. So this completely, gives a different meaning here. The actually, what happens, here the non-dualists will try to say that Brahmano hi Pratishtha means here is meaning the Atman, or the highest idea. But it's very difficult to twist it like that, because the difficulty is that Brahman is used in so many ways. There are so many shades of meaning for the same word. Ultimately, because in the there are so many other terminologies, like Brahmi Sthiti, Brahma Bhuya, all they are you can, one way you can say that they don't interpret or talk about the highest, they talk about an intermediary state. So they can be this Brahmi Sthiti and Brahmavya, etc. All can be attained through supreme devotion to the Lord, or being extremely devoted, and with unswavering way, if you practice devotion, all these can be attained. But then for the Lord support of Brahman, A state, steady mind free from cravings and passions and established in a state of unruffled stillness. Such a mental state only true intuition can arise. When you become really fit in that sense, then everything is you're having such a calm state of mind. Then the higher intuition is possible, and the higher realizations will also be possible. So the boundless peace, free from passion, etc., etc., they only can say that they are nearest to the Lord, such persons, and then they are even prepared for the highest. So there are several in places he prepares them completely for the state of Brahma Bhuya, being Brahma Bhuyam, being in Brahman. So, but that is not is the culmination, because after a few slokas he takes about the idea of Brahma Bhuta. So all that, you see, the point is the Gita gives a very wide scope for all kinds of aspirants. That's why again and again he talks about all these ideas in different ways with the different slight connotations. So, but very clearly, there are of course slokas which completely give rise to the idea of the Advaita or the oneness, etc. Particularly in the chapter where he talks so much about jnana, it's possible where clearly in the uh, where he has talked about in chapter 13, the Kshetra Kshetrajna. From that, you get really the idea of the Supreme Spirit or Brahman also. So, every kind of aspirant is taken care of, and then they are all discussed here. And then he says, uh, Brahmano hi pratishthamu. Then yasmakshara atitoham aksharadapi chottama atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushottamaha. So he's a purushottama. Yasmat aksharam atito is beyond the akshara. And then aksharadapi chot uttama is beyond even that. Then atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushottama. So he is the person who is a purushottama who is beyond all that. He is beyond everything. So you can say is the in a way the highest kind of idea that is expressed here, that he is the purushottama. And then aham kraturaham yajnaha swadaham aham aushadam. Then again he says in the aham kraturaham swadaham aham aushadam. This is one idea. Then sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto mattas pratigyanam apohanancha vedesha sarve ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videha chaham. So sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto. Everywhere I am established in the heart of everybody. Matta smritir jnanam apohanancha. Everything is smriti and forgetfulness. Everything is, and he is the Vedas. He is the originator of Vedanta and the knower of all that. So how is a all encompassing a personality is the Lord that he himself is revealing through all that. And then aham sarvasya prabhavo mattas sarvam pravartate iti matva vajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha yo mam evam yo mam ajam anadincha vetti loka maheshwaram. So, in all these, in the various ways, he reveals his shades of his various types of his personality, various shades of his personality are all revealed through that. And then he says, no, yet vibhuti mat sattvam srimadurjidameva va. Wherever you find, mama tejomsha shambhavam, wherever you say the extraordinary manifestation of any power, Guru Maharaj also says clearly, wherever you say, when so many people are worshipping somebody or accepting someone and giving great respect and all that, know that such people have some definitely a higher power is working through them, or they've been blessed like that, something, and to some such extent, Thakur says, they are not just ordinary people. They may be to the ordinary thing one may look like, but why should lakhs and lakhs of people worship somebody or follow somebody? Obviously, There is some traces of some power, divine power working through them that way. So here Sri Krishna clearly says, wherever you say that urjita, that energy, power, glory, wherever you see, mama tejomsha sambhav, my amsha, my part is there. Because of that only they are like that. You clearly understand that what it says. And then एतत् योनीनि भूतानि सर्वाणि इति पदारय ममं योनि महत्परम तस्मिन् गर्भं ददाम्यहं तेषामहं समुद्धता मृत्यु संसार सागरात्. See, that's what we already saw, that how he says from the Mrityu Samsara Sagar, I will liberate them. Those who have taken, they might have been great sinners, but once they take a resolve, Chitram Bhavati Dharmatma, Shashvat Santim Richati, then he says, such a people are very dear to me, and I do not, I always stand by them, I help them, I liberate them. There he says clearly, again, this is what will happen to such people. They are really devoted to me. So, Pratijani he visa. Then, so such people, I will always Teshamam Samuddata Mrityu Samsara Sagara. Bhavavina Chirat Partha Maya Veshita Chetasa. So, I liberate such people. I help them cross over the Mrityu Samsara Sagara, the ocean of birth and death, Samsara. I will help them cross. So these are some of the ideas he says. And then we already saw Kshetragyam Chapimam Vidhi Sarva Kshetrishu Bharata. This can again be taken up as a definition of himself. We saw that as a definition of Jnana. And not only that, Kshetrajna Mam Vidhi, know me to be the Kshetrajna. That's also another definition of himself. So we saw all that. Then, he makes in various places the distinctions about Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Because the entire chapter is devoted to the three gunas. And finally, he establishes that Sattva is superior to all the others. And then, Vidhi, Chaitanya, Vidhi Mam Partha, and then Vidha, and Nyeya, Jnanam, Nyayam, etc. So, the views are not known to ordinary people. It's not known to such way he says, he draws special attention. Vidhi Partha, know for certain, this is what it is. Then this is to be known. So, like that is guiding them. So these are all the. Then we'll take up. He talks about certain beneficial results of knowing and practicing certain things. He says, even a little of it. Salpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you do a little of it, it will liberate you from terrible fear. What is the fear? The greatest fear is fear of death, fear of birth, fear of samsara, fear of coming again and again. यहाँ चक्कर कटना, वही मृत्यु से आपका वो पार कर देगा. He will take you beyond that, even if you do a little. So he says anything in spiritual life is something where nothing goes waste. अब जितना भी करें, it will keep on accumulating. If you keep on accumulating, so if you save more, then it'll accumulate more that way. And then so then he clearly talks about several places where he says you will be liberated from the bondage of karma. Sukham bandhat pramuchyate karma bandham prahasyasi. So he says how he will free us from the bondage of karma. Then nasochitamarhasi masucha, do not grieve, don't be miserable due to dukkha, etc. So everywhere he is giving all these assurances. These are some of there are another series of other assurances also that we can continue next time. It's a very interesting introduction is going, I think, quite a bit. It may take some more, at least another clearly 5-6 classes or even more we have to do. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we are studying Gita only. We are getting some kind of a bird's eye view of Gita. Then we'll go detail into chapter by chapter, every chapter what are the each sloka will take up, but that will be after we complete this introduction. Huh? Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat Shri Ram Krishna